3/4, channel ID, Guide US TV. You can also download the app to your smartphone. Available for iPhones from the App Store. For Android.
And we're coming to you almost live all the way from right here in Southern California. The one that you saw on there was Richard Kifer, and I just let him have the shot, the opening shot tonight. And that's why I wanted him to look up. Hopefully he was. Anyway, we have some, do it again. I'm going to show everybody. Do it again. Yeah. Come on. All right. Look at that beautiful smile. All right. When you're smiling and you're happy, the whole world smiles with you.
We better keep our day jobs.
Yeah, I think so. We have somebody with us tonight, Richard, who is a very special guest. And I've been telling everybody, I've been calling them up and telling them to watch and to be with us tonight. And we've got some sad news, and I want to get that out of the way before we get this rolling here. Tonight, we're seeing across the country some breakout of what happened last night in Minneapolis. What happened there was really a serious situation. It looks like that there was the police had apprehended someone, and then they were holding him down on the ground, and the man died. And so there was a video of that going around, and it indicated that there might have been some improper handling of the situation on the part of the police department. And so it looks like it escalated up around Minneapolis, and there were fires that broke out. There were businesses that were looted, and now it is extended over into St. Paul area, St. Paul, Minnesota, which is it's a neighbor of Minneapolis. And I just got a report from a sister there that we know very well. She's instrumental in helping us get the Qur'ans that we're going to be talking about in just a few minutes. And she's telling us that the outbreak was so bad that even in St. Paul, there was a lady and her family. They have a small gift shop. The gift shop was burnt to the ground, and they took everything out of it. They looted it, and they actually shot the guard and killed the guard there. And then they shot at the older lady, her mother, or something like that. So, and this is looking like it's going to be even worse tonight. So some of the people who have been talking to me today, in just the last hour, have been giving us reports and saying that when the sun goes down, which it already has over there, I guess. Well, you know about that, Richard. How long ago was Maghrib for you?
Maghrib was at 9:01.
Maghrib? Oh,
yes.
Okay. Yeah. So you already had Maghrib in there.
Yes.
So okay. Nobody is looking forward to the problems on that, and they've brought in extra police units and I don't know, different kinds of teams to try to get control of the area there. But they tell us that in Chicago and Los Angeles that there might be some problems tonight as well. So we'll all be praying for everybody that Allah will keep everybody safe. And I was asking about this. What about this COVID virus thing? I don't want to lose touch with that, because if everybody's out in the streets and doing this, looks like that's going to exacerbate that whole situation. Is that what do you think about that? Have you heard about it?
Well, yeah. Well, the mayor of Minneapolis took to the airwaves this afternoon, and he asked for the prosecuting attorneys to press charges immediately against the police officer who was pictured with his knee on the guy's neck.
Oh, he had his knee on his neck.
Yes, had him down, face down. Knee was on his neck, and you could hear him screaming, "I can't breathe! I can't breathe! I can't breathe!" And the mayor said, "This man, he said if it was me or you or anybody else, you'd be in jail." So he demanded, he asked the prosecuting office to press charges against this man.
Your audio is breaking up real bad. I with the last part of what you said, we don't know, but
Okay.
yeah. Anyway, let's see if we can try to bring him back in again. All right, try it again.
Well, they were just saying that he was asking the prosecuting attorney to press charges and to put out a warrant for this man's arrest.
Well, I guess it's kind of late for that. Even I hope they do something. But if you've got the vigilantes out in the streets,
Yeah.
burning, protesting, robbing people, killing people, then that's way, way out of hand. That's definitely not the kind of thing we like to see.
Yes. Well, back in 1967, Detroit basically burned itself down in similar situations with the riots, and it was very, 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 very difficult to come out of.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to some kind of, I think, cure for that problem. And then we're looking for a cure for the virus thing. Now we're looking for a cure for mental instability, I think, maybe. All right,
Yeah.
let's do something that's very uplifting and happy for us. And that is we're going to bring in Bill, and let's find out his story right now. We have somebody with us, and we want to bring him on if we can. Here's Bill. Bill, are you in Chandler, Arizona?
Yes, I'm in Chandler, Arizona, where it hit 111 degrees today. Beautiful.
Oh
111.
my goodness. And it went all the way up to 80 here in California.
I think that's what it was at 6:30 when I took off on my bicycle ride in the morning.
Wow.
Yeah.
Whoa, that 111. And
Yeah, it's pretty toasty.
And that wasn't anything started by protesters, was it?
No, it was COVID-19, I think, in this case.
Too hot. Too hot.
Yeah,
Bill,
yeah.
I think you have an uplifting story to share with all of us today. And let me see if I
do.
can. Yeah. Actually, I want to show everybody. Is this the one? Can you see it up there in front of you?
Can you see the one I'm holding?
Oh yeah. I'm holding
Yeah.
one too. I'm asking the people all the time to help us get this out, and it will make a difference to people, especially in Ramadan. All right. So
Yeah,
now,
this was the first Quran I ever touched, saw up close, or read any ayat out of, and it came from you. And mashallah, that was wonderful. Yeah, one day I opened up the mailbox and there was a package in a brown envelope. It was a plain envelope, and I popped it open and out comes this thing. No note, no message, no nothing. I'm like, okay, who's pulling a prank on me? So I went on Facebook and I made a few text messages. Which one of you knuckleheads sent me the Quran? Nobody said they did it. Nobody owned up. So I popped it open and started reading it. 3 days later, I started reading it a second time through. 5 weeks later, I was in the Islamic Center of Portland, offering my Shahada with Sheikh Mohammed.
oh, mashallah, mashallah.
That is the short version. And that's the version I'm going to offer tonight. The other versions have been published here and there, and I think you or one of your staff actually read the other version, and that's how I ended up sitting here tonight on your show.
MashaAllah, that's wonderful news. We're so happy.
And this was sent to me anonymously from your organization, and that's pretty amazing. So, mashallah, that's a wonderful story.
It is. Now,
how long? 4.5 years ago.
Huh?
4.5 years ago.
4.5 years ago. And
Correct,
this is
yes.
Today is the first day I found out about this. Today.
Yeah, this is the most recent day I found out about it because I think about it every day.
Okay.
I have a digital copy of your Quran from Kindle, and either that or this or the Quran that Sheikh Muhammad gave me. I'm on my 58th reading of it.
You've read the Quran 57 times all the way through, and now you're in the 58th time?
That's correct. I try to get one juz every day, 1/30th every day. It's not that hard. It takes 20 minutes. It's not like, getting waterboarded or something. It's very pleasant and enjoyable. It's a joy. It's like watching the news for half an hour. It's a part of my daily routine.
Part of your daily routine to read the Quran. MashaAllah.
Tell us. Sometimes more, sometimes less, but that's round numbers,
Wow.
This is amazing. This really is a beautiful story. Tell us a little bit about what happened. You said you read the Quran. You read it all the way through in a short period of time, right?
Yeah. The first time I read through, it was all new to me, and I was really enchanted and uplifted by all of it, and I couldn't put it down. The first time I read through it, it was 12, 13 hours a day, continuously. I couldn't put it down. And then I started right up again into the opening and started reading it again. The second and third times, not as quickly, of course, but I continued through. By the time I did the Shahada, I had read it 3 times.
MashaAllah. Have you had the opportunity to learn any of the Arabiya, the Arabic language?
No, no. I'm by myself here in the world. I don't have any Arabic speaking friends. I do have several books on Islam. I read the hadiths occasionally, not as much as I should. And I also read some of the fundamentals of the Sunni ways of living, the fiqh.
Yes.
Am I pronouncing it incorrectly?
Yes, I understand what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah. So I try to keep up to speed on that too, but it's just me, and I'm kind of on my own here. So I do the best I can. But I do keep current with my reading, and I keep current with my 5 prayers, and that is the core of my Islamic study.
Well, that's all good. We're really, really proud of you for keeping up with that. That's an amazing story that somebody and you don't know who actually ordered. You didn't order it, is that right?
No, I didn't order it, and I have no idea to this day who did.
Wow.
But whoever it is, thank you for sending it to me. I have no idea who it was, though.
Yes, subhanallah. This really. I'm so happy to hear you tell us this story, because for so long I know that people like myself, we say, well, what is the advantage here? What's going on with that? And what would be, what? Subhanallah. It's all from Allah, though, isn't it?
Yeah, no kidding. It's alhamdulillah, totally. But I share some of the Islamic teachings on my Facebook now and then, and I try to do what little I can to soften people up a little bit towards Islam. Obviously, I'm not going to revert anybody just from myself talking about it, but that would be a miracle in itself. But it would be remiss of me not to at least mention it now and then, because it has had such a powerful impact on me in the last 4 years.
Well, let me ask you this question. How about your family, your wife, your children? What do they think about this?
Oh, they're wonderful. They're absolutely wonderful. At first, I mentioned it I mentioned it to my wife, and her response was basically something on the order of, "You what?" And then, but then, immediately afterwards, she was good about it, and she's very accommodating and helpful, and real kind and friendly about the whole thing. So it's part of my personality now. So and my kids are really helpful and encouraging too, all the time. So I have a daughter living at home and three other children who are adults and on their way into the world now.
I wanted to also ask you what about at your place of work? What do you do?
No, I'm a retired federal law enforcement officer, and I also.
Oh, whoa! Wait a minute! Whoa! Say that again, real slow.
Easy now. Anyway, I also taught high school for a few years after retiring at the high school that my two daughters went to. And then I spent 4 years as an armed Army security subcontractor, protecting an Army facility.
MashaAllah.
I'm an author, and I've written 5 books.
Wow.
So I've been keeping busy since my retirement, but I don't punch a clock anymore, and I haven't done so for, how many years has it been? 12? Yeah. I say punch a clock metaphorically.
Yeah, we had some folks trying to call in just now. I forgot to put the phone number up, and I know that everybody wants to talk to you right now. Let's see. Well, yeah, we got enough time before we take our break. Let's put up the phone number, guys. The phone number to call right now if you want to call in and talk with Bill, talk with Richard, talk with me, or talk to yourself. You can do that. You just call us up, 1-800-971-4383. Just give us a call, and we'll take your call. Richard, what do you think about this? Now, by the way, I should tell Bill, that, do you know who Richard is? Do you know that his story is that he also came to Islam after 43 years of being a Baptist preacher?
Wow. Wow. That's something else. I came into Islam from no religion.
No religion. That was my question. I was wondering how you grew up and where you got to this point where all of a sudden religion mattered.
Well, I'll give you the 30-second version. I was a Catholic at birth. At age 16, I stopped going to church. I've always been sympathetic to the Catholic Church. My father was a Catholic, and I always honored him. Sure. He's a great guy. Then there was no religion whatsoever. I studied Buddhism from about age 50 to age 55, and got to be well enough versed in it so that the monks were using me to engage tour groups of the temple and explain Buddhism to them. So that's how far I got into it, like an AA degree in Buddhism. But that didn't seem to answer all the questions. So I went back to nothing again and stayed at nothing until this thing popped in the mail.
Alhamdulillah.
I mean, that's a leap from, was that agnosticism, kind of an agnostic atheist? Or
I just never gave it a second thought. I honestly never gave it a second thought.
Okay. But that's a huge leap. What?
Yeah. Boy, howdy, that's a big leap.
Yeah, I mean, from nothing to Islam you had to stop in the middle there and just acknowledge that there was a God.
Correct. Yes, and that occurred at some point during the reading of chapter 1. That was right away, right off the bat. There was no. Gee, I wonder if this might be true or not. It was like immediately right from Jump Street. It was right away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I understand that. Fatiha changed my life too. The very first reading. Yeah, absolutely.
It seems like a less profound jump from Baptist to Islam.
Well, I deconverted. I retired and then I deconverted over a 2-year span, and I was really an agnostic at that point. So I made a pretty good leap and had a lot of help. But yeah, I I had already kind of thrown in the towel on Christianity. I just had no room. Didn't make any sense. The people, the hypocrisy, the money, the politics, it just all dissolved. Stopped going to church. And
I still have a soft spot in my heart for them, in particular Catholics, because of my father.
Sure.
But I recognize the profound differences, obviously.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's awesome. What was there any particular point in the reading where you just went, I got to make Shahada?
No, but it was after the first reading through of the Quran, I started doing some online research. There's got to be a mosque someplace around me in Portland. So I looked up a number of mosques and I studied them, and there were different varieties of. I'm not gonna bust on any type of variety of the study, but some of them are obviously not something I'd be happy with. And then I found the Islamic Center of Portland, which is a brother organization to the ones that we have here in Phoenix, and that's where I hooked up, and I made a contact with one of the brothers there, and his older brother is the Sheikh there, the Sheikh Mohammed, and I met him on Friday, right before her, and he says, "I understand you have something you want to say to me," and I said, "Yep." So it was a full house. Took half an hour for everybody to quit shaking my hand. They treated me like the king of Siam. It was absolutely incredible. And they continued to each time I went back there.
Alhamdulillah.
An amazing story. I wish they were all like that. They're not, but I wish they were. And that place, I tell you, I want to give a shout out to them. And in particular, they have a new reverts club there too, run by Brother Andy Day. And it's a wonderful structure for new people. Most mosques don't do that, and I've discovered, and it's just such a waste. You know, you go out and you do dawah work, and you try to get people to join you, and then they might be interested, and then what now? There's nobody there for you. There's no structure. There's no meetings. There's no nothing for new people.
Yes.
And I think that might be part of the reason why the attrition rate is so high among reverts, because there's just people say that they're welcoming, but in fact they may not be as welcoming as they say they are. And I don't want to point fingers, but just the way it's structured, that's all.
Yes. Well, I've been reading, it looks like the statistics are saying about 7 out of 10 reverts don't last.
It might even be 9 out of 10 by the time 10 years goes by. It's a lot. Yeah. And the ones who do last are often, it's because their spouses are Muslim.
Yeah.
And they're in the family, and their family have networks and friends and connections all over the community. Right. And a stray person like me, who's related by blood or community to nobody who's a Muslim, that's like you get a sense of being an outsider. And it's profound, and that's why you see the attrition rate so high, in my experience and in my opinion. Yes. It doesn't have to be that way, too. A good reverts club can bridge that gap.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
But
I went from Shahada on a Jummah Friday, King of Siam, to the following Friday, nobody knew who I am.
I know that feeling, right? I know that feeling.
And I kept looking around the masjid for anybody who was white. It was like, can I find another white guy in here that I can talk to?
Yeah, I know the feeling. I know the feeling too. I was looking for a white guy or a Black American, somebody who could at least relate to me as being an indigenous American with deep ancestry here.
There you go.
Yes, and I did find a few, and I'm friends with a few too. You know, there's a few friends in Portland that I've stayed with, Mo and a few others, and here too in Phoenix as well. We have a motorcycle club, predominantly Islam followers, and so.
Wow.
And so I stay hooked up with those fellas too, and that's a really positive experience in most cases.
Do you ever get a chance to do any road trips with the motorcycles?
No, we stick with the day trips. And another problem we have out here is you got to get it done by about 11 in the morning, or you're going to end up in the hospital because it gets too hot too quick. And then you put yourself under a helmet, you know, and you're going 70 miles an hour, and it gets really hot. And the motorcycle's hot, and the 105-degree air is hitting you in the face. So you got to get it done we're heading home by 9:30 in the morning typically.
Well, come over to Yorba Linda, California, and get early in the morning and get on the bike and ride over. And get up in the mountains. Man, it snows up there, even in the summer.
You know, one of the guys in the club, Brother Sari, told me that I should try to recruit you into our club. And we could all roll over into your compound there and get you hooked up. Take you to a motorcycle store, and we could have a fundraiser and get you squared away.
Yeah, that'd be about the only way. I haven't had, I don't even have a car for the last, long time.
Yeah, well, motorcycles are easier too, and they're way safer. You'd be much happier on a motorcycle.
I used to ride a motorcycle way back in the early 60s. And, but then when those motorcycle gangs came out with the chains and stuff in California, and they had the skull and crossbones tattooed on their foreheads and all that kind of stuff. I was like, that's not me. I'm out of here. So
none of us have any tattoos. We're a no tattoo club. We're really not a club. We're just a social gathering, you know. But no tattoos.
No tattoos. Oh.
To my knowledge, I haven't checked everybody, but I don't think there are. I don't have any.
Alhamdulillah.
Yeah,
Alhamdulillah.
yeah, I don't have any.
Bill,
you know, another thing I forgot to mention that's kind of interesting about my religion. I'll do this real quick here. I quit drinking 38 years ago. I've been a non-alcohol person. I haven't eaten any pork in 15 years.
Whoa, wait a minute. You only accepted Islam 4 years ago? And
yeah,
now...
I know. People talk about that too. I don't have any tattoos. I can tell you a couple other things that I've done, but I'm going to try to be gentle and avoid them, you know. But pretty much all of the basic personal habits that we're supposed to follow in Islam, I've been doing it for years. It's just the strangest thing.
Maybe that's why when you read the Quran, it set so well with you, because you had already adjusted yourself to that.
Yeah. Well, in addition to not eating pork, I'm a vegetarian. I don't eat any animals. But the point is, it was an easy transition for me. I didn't have to do anything. I didn't have to lift a finger. It was just intellectually reading and studying the new faith. I didn't have to change my lifestyle by quitting drinking or, you know, quitting eating pork or whatever. You know what I mean? Or getting rid of my tattoos, you know, and all that garbage. None of that. It was really cool.
Whenever, maybe you don't know this about me, but I spent a number of years in the chaplaincy in the federal prisons. I read
that. That's interesting, yeah.
Yeah, and I spent that time with a lot of converts who had converted in the federal prison or different prisons, and so many of them, they would have the tattoos and some of the habits that you were talking about. And I would tell them that there's nothing in Islam that says you have to remove a tattoo, but it'd be better if you didn't get one to start with. But you don't have to sacrifice it, go out here and maybe even die from trying to remove an image on you. But maybe you go into the masjid and cover it up so that it doesn't offend people that are trying to do salat, something like that.
Yeah, that'd be a nice gesture, yeah.
Yeah, but you also mentioned something else that it kind of set well with me, that whenever a person comes to Islam, I like for them to know that the first and foremost thing is about not converting your body or covering your body up or anything. That's not the number one priority. Number one priority is to set the mindset. And it has to be on that level of, God is watching me and I've got to put him first. That's the number one mindset. Then the heart, because I give over my heart all the way over to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, some people say, no, heart has to be first, but I tell you what, I found that some people, sometimes if you let your heart do all the thinking for you, you wind up in a problem because sometimes you're emotionally attached to something you don't even know what it was. And it's a better idea to know exactly who Allah is and then go forward 100% with your heart, your mind, your soul, everything. That's mentioned in the Bible that way. You know, you have to love God with all your heart, all your mind, all your strength, and all your soul, and a commandment like unto it, to love your brother as yourself. Now in Islam we have almost identical, but it's a lot more focus on your relationship with Allah. And by the way, I know that almost every translation we've sent out, and this one is included, it says in there that about salah, iqama salah. You have to establish the, yeah, you got it, same one. And it tells us to establish salah, but the salah is translated as what? 5 times a day we do what?
We pray. We interact with God, with Allah. It's our requirement.
See, that's exactly why I love the reverts. I love the people who, like myself, come to Islam, because you investigate enough to just not accept a word in another language and say, okay, pray. No, you said interact, because the word salah doesn't mean prayer. It doesn't. The word dua is exactly the prayer. That's, you know, whenever you raise your hands and go like this, that's called dua. And if I'm raising my hands in English, I call it prayer. Whether I do it like this or like this, you know, or looking up and saying, oh God, you know, whatever, but that's prayer. Dua. Dawah is from the same root. Dawah is to call on the people to come and learn how to do the prayer, you know. But what is salah? Do you know? Have anybody ever told you what it means?
Nope. I may have looked it up, but it's been a while. I looked up so much stuff.
Nah, it won't tell you. That you have to. I was in Egypt going along with a friend of mine, and I saw a picture of a cell phone, and I was reading the billboard on it, and it said something about salah with your phone. And my Arabic's not that strong, so I was looking at it, and I said, how in the world are you going to do salah with your phone? And they said, no, that's sila. It doesn't have the diacritical marks on it, so I was pronouncing it salah. But he said, no, that in that case it meant sila. I said, well, what's the difference? He said, that means connection. The connection for your phone. I said, oh my God. Do you mean the word salah is a connection with Allah? He said, no, that's prayer. I said, why? He said, well, because they told me that in English, salah is prayer. I said, oh my God. Oh my God. So, yeah, there are a lot of words from the very beginning of the Quran to the end that although they're translated pretty good and it gives you sort of the meaning, it doesn't really give you the real deal.
Yeah.
I'll give you exactly. The very first word in the Quran is bi. That's the first word, bi. And it's associated with ism, bism, bismi, Allah. And they say in the name of Allah, right? Isn't that right?
Of course.
Yeah. But it's not. It's not. Because fi is the word in Arabic. And it doesn't say fismi Allah, fismi Allah. No, it says bismi Allah. Right? Shall I tell you?
Go for it.
All right. Bi, when you use that term, it means with. When you say bi'idhnillah, that means with the permission of Allah. Bi'ismillah, that means with the name of Allah. But do you know why they use that translation, in the name of Allah? Because the first time that they were translating this, a couple hundred years ago, I think it was George Sale, used, and he's not Muslim, by the way, but they used the vernacular that's in vogue at the time, meaning that they try to pull stuff from the Bible and from other documents that are, on that level. And so, in the name of the king, so you're coming with a message from the king, so a charter or anything, you say, in the name of the king, I stand before you in the name of the king. All right, so that's where you get that. So they translated it in the name of Allah, because that kind of seemed like a better way to say that, instead of saying, oh, I got something with me here, that's with the name of Allah. But actually it is with the name of Allah.
Thank you.
Yep. And that it doesn't stop there. As you go through word by word by word, about every fifth word you can look at and find a better translation for it. And if you would like, I encourage you to be with us for that, because we really would like. Well, when we come back, we got to take a break real quick. I'll take this break. We'll be right back, guys. Don't go away. Hey, in the break, tell everybody to come on and meet our brand new, well, not too much used up brother from getting the Quran and the mail out. Tell him, come and meet Bill, who became Bilal. Alsalamu Alaikum. We'll be right here when you come back.
Here are some ways to get Guidus TV. Via satellite on Galaxy 19 FTA. At this satellite frequency, transponder rate 5, frequency 11836 MHz, polarity vertical, symbol rate 20770, FEC 3/4, channel ID, Guide US TV. You can also download the app to your smartphone. Available for iPhones from the App Store, for Android on Google Play. And now Guidus TV is available on Roku. Get guided with Guidus TV. Here are some ways to get Guidus TV. Via satellite on Galaxy 19 FTA. At this satellite frequency,
And we're back. I told you, just stay right there and stay guided with Guidus TV. Yeah. And while we were in the break, my wife asked Bill a very good question about the Salah. Because here I am talking about the meaning of a word, didn't even bring up the right subject, did I? But
his address, I'll send you a book.
Okay. Yeah, and my wife is going to send you a book, by the way. She wrote a book by hand, okay, of every movement of every prayer. In other words, I've never seen anybody else do it this way. Because if you said, well, here's the first rak'ah, the second one's just like that except you sit. No. She goes through each of the movement of each one of the prayers. So when you read it, you have prayed exactly. When I got my first book that I looked at, I couldn't understand because it was a translation from Urdu from Arabic, so yeah. And I couldn't get it in my mind. I didn't want to take any chances. So I was actually doing, it said a set. Well, to me, a set is 2. So you do these 4, and then you sit, and then you do 4 more. And I was doing 8 rak'ah for all the prayers of 4, and I couldn't figure out how to do the one in the Fajr. I was doing 4 rak'ah for that, and then in Maghrib I had a problem because I couldn't figure out how to do a set of 3. It's not like 6. I don't know. So whenever it wasn't too long into that, a few weeks, and then somebody told me, "Hey, wait a minute, what you're doing here? Hold up." So yeah.
No, I've never had that luxury of someone telling me, "Wait a minute." Although I've had a few "wait a minute" moments. But online there's videos, and they all differ a little bit on the pronunciations, and some of them even differ on more than that. So it's been a struggle, and I think I could say it took a few years to get it all figured out correctly.
Mm.
And I may not have it done correctly even at this point, but I do the best I can. Part of it's in English, by the way, at this point, too.
Well, it's, you know what, like I said, the best part about the whole thing is there's nothing in Islam that's not common sense. If a person doesn't know a word of Arabic and they don't even know Allah, they can say God, as long as they're worshiping the one who created everything, who is not in the creation. That's the first part. If you got that, there is a cause for the creation. There is this cause that made the universe come into being. The universe was non-existent, and then it came into being. And a lot of the atheists will admit that, and they'll go right to that, and they'll say, but then they'll try to explain some convoluted theories of crazy stuff. And I ask them, why don't you just say there is a God? You don't have to say it's Allah, but say that there is something behind it, a greater intelligence. How about a creator, a grand architect of the universe, something, you know. But no, they want to keep coming up with this, well, let's guess another way, you know. So what do you think?
Well, I think it doesn't really, in my opinion, based on the learning that I've done, I don't think it really matters one way or the other. I don't see anything in the Quran or in the Sunnah that says that I have to do it in Arabic. Maybe it's in there, maybe I haven't found it yet, but if I do the best I can in my funky Arabic pronunciation and my perfectly clear American English pronunciation, I'm good, in my opinion.
And that's good that you keep that in mind too. When you say, in my opinion, that means that you're leaving room to learn more. And that is a big key. Some of the atheists do have that. I was watching something just last night with Hamza Zortzis and Professor Krauss, who they're in the UK. And at the end, the very end of it, it was nice because Professor Krauss, he said that he's leaving his mind open to learn more things, and anything that comes along, he wants to examine it. He doesn't want to say yes or no to absolute. And that's an interesting proposition for people who don't want to believe in a God, because maybe, and now this is me guessing, but maybe something's happened to them somewhere along the line, and this God image that they got from somebody else, and they say, well, I don't want that kind of God around me. And I don't blame them, because if the God image that you're talking about is a vicious, vindictive kind of a God that's going out here just, or a sadistic kind of a God is out here just wants to hurt people and bang people around, because that's not a law anyway. No. That is definitely not a law. And some of the people misrepresent Islam by saying things out of context, and sometimes outright misinformation, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, let me share with you something just to think about this, just for all of us, anybody who's watching this, just think about this. The hadith, or the narration, the saying of and teaching of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, he said that God is not going to leave a single person in the hellfire. Every single person will be excused and come out and go to paradise eventually. Now, I don't want to be there for 1 second, much less hundreds of thousands of years and burning the flesh off you and all the rest, whatever. But at least he's saying nobody is going to remain in the hellfire except those who refuse to leave. And now the companions of Muhammad, peace and blessing be upon him, they ask him, Ya Rasulullah, who would refuse to leave? Well, the refusal isn't while they're in the fire. The refusal is now, when they hear about this message of this loving, merciful, compassionate God who wants you to recognize that nothing in this universe is worthy of worship, but only the one who created it is worthy of your worship. that recognition and acceptance of that is enough to get anybody off the hook, as long as they don't make partners with him. And he says this in the Quran. Allah says this in the Quran very crystal clear, and you've read it in your translation 57 times, maybe even 58 by now. And it says that God does not forgive making partners with him in worship, but anything else he can eventually forgive. And it doesn't use the word eventually, but there are some cases where somebody has to get punished, you know, like we had just heard about somebody doing something, maybe taking somebody else's life, and that's very serious in Islam. Allah said in the Quran, anybody who takes an innocent life is as though they had killed all of mankind. All of mankind. Yeah, you read that, right?
Absolutely.
So, yeah, but if you save somebody's life, what's it like?
It says you saved all of mankind too.
Yep, there you go. That's the same book that we got here. By the way, I have another book that it's heavier, and we don't mail this one out because it cost us about I think we were mailing these out in the beginning. That used to cost me like $18 to mail it out because it's heavy, and these sharp corners will punch a hole in that brown bag. So we had to get the reinforcement and the wrap and all this stuff on that. And they will not allow these in the institutions. You can't put these in the jails or in institution for the people that are mentally off a little bit, because they can use it for a weapon. You can hit somebody at the corner of that thing and knock them into the next dimension. So yeah, they like that soft one that we send out. But anyway, I'm so glad that you came to Islam from this effort. And I'm glad that you came on and held it up like that, because when you held it up, I didn't realize that I was looking at it, I was saying that I saw it come up, and I was like, wait a minute.
Is that me?
Yeah. What just happened? And I really, in the beginning of this program, I was like, what? Yeah. So
No, Sheikh Yusuf, if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have reverted. It's as simple as that. At least not at that time. I wouldn't have. Maybe some future day, who knows? But thank you.
I have to give credit to the people who really did all the work. The sister who called me, and I talked with a sister just before we came on the air. She's in Minneapolis right now. She's the one, her and her partner are the ones that facilitated getting these out to us from Saudi Arabia. And we got a container. A container is a bunch of pallets of Qurans, and then we rented a truck, and we got that truck out, and we filled it up several times with those pallets and got them off of there and put them into a storage. And for the last couple of years, we've been mailing these out. We had 22,000, and we're almost running out now, but that's pretty good. That's pretty good that we got that out. And who had made this possible is the sister and the pilot of the airplane, because he overrode anybody. He said, this is my personal cargo. A container of books. He said, that's my personal cargo. And they allowed it to go into the plane, and they allowed it to come off, and they allowed it into the customs. And when I went to the customs, the man just said, sign here. And I said, what do I have to give you any? Because I've imported books before. And he said, nope, just sign here. These are religious books, right? And I said, yes. He said, you don't owe us any money. Have a good day.
Wow.
And I was like, yeah. And another time we had a pilot who had several cases, not pallets, but cases of books, cases of boxes of books, right? And he had actually got an extra taxi from the airport to take it to his hotel. So then he called me. He said, "Come over and get these guys out of the hotel." He said, "I don't want to rent an extra room for the books." So there are a lot of people. And then what about the people who go to the trouble to get the brown bags for us? And, there are brothers and sisters who are donating not only their efforts, but also the brown bags, the stamps, the paying for this. And it's the only thing I'm doing is holding it up and telling everybody donate and let's get it going. That's my job. But
I'm hoping my big takeaway from this also tonight is in my hopes that anybody who's listening can somehow find a way to understand that the reverts are getting away, and we have to take some steps to stop that loss, that attrition. It's just absolutely unacceptable when 4 out of 5 or 9 out of 10 vanish after a few years. The Tempe Mosque near us has had 1,000 shahadas in the last 35 years since it was founded, and none of them are going there anymore. None of them. It's just it's a tragedy. A revert club would be a nice start. That would be a good starting point because it doesn't cost any money. It doesn't cost the mosque a nickel. All it does is maybe a little bit of space in their building once every 2 months, but a place where people can go and say, "Hey, I'm new." "Oh yeah, so are we. Why don't we join us in our lunch or our dinner every 2 months, and tell us about what you need help with."
Richard,
it's not that hard. It doesn't cost a nickel.
I'm with you 100%. Richard, what do you have up there you have something, because I know you take off on certain nights to go for it. Tell us about it.
Yeah, well, there's a halakha group at our masjid, just a group of men that meet on Sunday evenings, and every night we take turns discussing articles that we get from the institute. I forget the name. Omar Suleiman's school.
Omar Suleiman?
Yeah, his school. He has a website with all kinds of articles and things, and we discuss those. And it's a wonderful time of discussion.
Are you talking about Bayana?
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, that Omar Suleiman is a very good, strong promoter of it. But Bayana, if I'm not mistaken, is Numan Ali Khan.
Okay.
They're both in the same place, the same masjid. Yeah.
Yeah.
In Dallas, Texas.
Yes.
So,
And we discuss things and have a few cookies and a cup of tea and hang around afterwards. And
not in Ramadan. Oh no, it was after dark though. You did have it in Ramadan, right?
We did it virtual during Ramadan.
Oh, that's right, because of the virus. Huh?
Yes.
Yeah. So
but pre-virus, we met at the masjid.
Pre-virus?
Yeah.
Pre-virus. All right.
Yeah.
I hear Bill laughing. I hear Bill laughing on that one. Bill, tell us a little bit about what's going on with the virus there in Chandler, Arizona. Your neighbors to Phoenix.
Well, the schools are out, the universities are out. My daughter's a university student. She's doing it all online through Zoom, just like we're doing it tonight. In fact, she's the one that showed me how to operate the Zoom. But my fitness, for me, I do bicycle riding every morning, and I can tell you what the traffic's like at 7 in the morning. And it vanished. The traffic was way, way lower until 3 days ago. Somebody hit the switch and it went back up again. Mm-hmm. And it's back up again, and all of a sudden, hardly anybody's wearing masks anymore. Not that they were that often anyway in Arizona, because Arizona's been kind of an outlier in that regard.
Wait a minute, though. You said that the temperature got up to 100 and what?
11 today.
111.
Well, it's not 115. It's 111. It's not that bad.
Yeah, right. Whatever. So, okay. But at 111 or 115, whatever, that's enough to wipe that virus out, isn't it?
Nope. Some of the worst hit places are right on the equator. Look at Ecuador, look at Brazil, look at northern Chile. I think the virus doesn't care what the temperature is.
Well,
if you look at the list of nations around the world where they're getting hit hard, some of the hardest hit countries are on the equator. Some of them are also in the cooler climates too, in Northern Europe. But the equatorial nations are getting hit pretty hard too. Singapore, for example, Malaysia. That's my view anyway. I don't think the virus cares what the temperature is, unless maybe it gets to 180 or something.
Yeah. Wow. I hadn't even thought about it like that.
Look at Brazil. Brazil's like number 3 in the world or something. I haven't checked today, but it's right there under the USA.
Yeah, it's doing terrible.
I did hear that. We have a lot of Muslims down in Brazil. I don't know if you know that. A tremendous amount of Arabs in the last 150 years have migrated to Brazil. They tried to come to America on several occasions. Back in the days before there was, the airplanes, and they would be turned away, and they would go on down to Brazil. And a lot of, especially the Lebanese, there are a tremendous number of them down in Brazil, and doing very well down there as far as business wise, and have a strong community there. It's
I was in Buenos Aires a couple months ago with my wife, and we went to a mosque in Buenos Aires, Argentina, right across just south of Brazil, and it was the people were from Lebanon. Pretty much the entire group of Muslims that were there were from Lebanon. So the Lebanese connection is real.
The same is true in Central and in Central America, and also in Mexico. And actually, I'm wearing a Mexican T-shirt right now. I don't think I can show you it's too complicated to get it off. But I am going to post that tomorrow and show everybody, because Omar Weston gave it to me 25 years ago, and I ran out of T-shirts today, so I put it on. And I tried to find a way to show it to everybody while we were on the air, but oh my goodness, we're running out of time. I'm just having so much fun talking with you guys tonight, and I can't believe we're running out of time. How could this be?
Yeah, that was the fastest hour I've seen in a long time. Wow.
Yeah, it really is fast. Okay, I just downloaded it. Okay, here we go. I don't know if drag and drop is not something recommended for this, but I'm gonna do it anyway. We're getting the message to shut it down, boys. Shut it down. All right. Well, it didn't work. Oh, you know why? Because I'm already on it. Yeah, all right. Here we go. No, that shows my face. Wait. There. Now you can see it, guys. CCIM. That is 25 years ago. And we had the very first website for Islam in Mexico. It was called islam.com.mx. And let's see if we can pull this other one into here. Oh my goodness. No, that one is not going to work. That one won't work because it's sideways. And now, Bill, I need you to do something for me because I just messed up my transmission. Tell everybody that Alsalamu Alaikum, stay tuned and stay guided by Guidus TV.
Alsalamu Alaikum, stay guided by Guidus TV.
There
I think
you
I got
go.
a B+.
You did good. Yeah. Then Richard and I will do the same thing. Stay guided with Guide Us TV.
Here are some ways to get Guide Us TV. Via satellite on Galaxy 19 FTA. At this satellite frequency, transponder rate 5, frequency 11836 MHz, polarity vertical, symbol rate 20770, FEC 3/4, channel ID, Guide US TV. You can also download the app to your smartphone. Available for iPhones from the App Store, for Android on Google Play. And now Guide Us TV is available on Roku.